ladies and gentlemen, my name is NINTEDO, and welcome to the series What Is, the show where we ponder the question, what is? And I just came out of living from this rock for the past 7 years, and I'm kind of wondering what I missed. What the hell is this?
The Nintendo Switch is over 7 years old, with it launching in March of 2017, with its predecessor launching today, if this video comes out on time. I decided to take a look back at this console to see just how well it held up on its 7-year run. But first, let's go back to 2012. The Wii U has just launched, and Nintendo was so confident in their new console, they already started making concepts for the next generation. You see, the Wii U was a massive flop, with a lackluster library, poor hardware specs, along with clunky gimmicks attached to the console that kept people from jumping from Wii to the Wii U, leaving the Wii U to lose Nintendo massive amounts of money. Along with the fact that mobile gaming started to become more and more popular, all of these factors put pressure on Nintendo to look to the future and start working on a whole new console. So, with Iwata, Tatsumi, Genyo, and Miyamoto all together, they started to work on this new console. With mobile gaming on the rise, the team wanted to make that a focus for the Switch. That, along with the complaint of the Wii U gamepad having such a limited range. So the idea was to make a portable home console, tackling the mobile market along with the home console market. This choice also helped to make the console more appealing to both the Western and Japan markets, as in Japan, everyone is on the go and more social with their gaming experiences. So having a console that can go almost anywhere and having the ability to play with friends and family was a huge incentive for Japan. While in the West, gaming is a more personal experience, making the home gaming market much larger here. The team worked on 5 different concepts before they actually landed on the Switch's design. The Switch was originally leaked as the NX. Nintendo was very secretive about the console, as they were worried that people were going to try to mimic the hardware before the launch. I wonder why that was. The Switch was officially announced in October of 2016, with its release slated for March 3rd, 2017. Not everyone was just ready to jump into the pool, especially after the poor launch of the Wii U. Reviews were mixed on launch, but despite all that, the console sold 330,000 units in the first week. I mean, I can see how. I own this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. The console came with the Switch, 2 Joy-Cons, left and right ones, a docking system for the console to both charge and move to TV mode, along with a Joy-Con grip. The screen in handheld mode runs at 720p at mostly 30 FPS, while on dock mode, the console runs at 1080p with 60 FPS. With that all out of the way, let's dive into the OS of the Nintendo Switch. Booting up the console, we have the main menu. Something I realized while doing research is everyone talking about how boring this screen is, but I kind of like it. I think it's clean with Nintendo's little quirks. It's not as fun as the Wii or the Wii U, but we're coming to a day and age where everybody knows what a video game console is. You don't have to sell them. I feel like people are becoming less judgmental to video game consoles. People come around and are like, oh, you have a Switch, and not, that's a video game console? Overall, it's an easy to operate menu with a very simple design. I like it. We have the gallery to look at all your Switch pictures, game sharing, controller connection, game library, settings, and power. Profiles up in the top right and games in the center. We also have Nintendo Switch Online. Now, I hate online services. Warning, PC privilege speaker coming, but free online access on a PC then $5 a month for the same service on a console is dumb. But Nintendo takes stupid to a whole new level. One, you need to buy base level for online play, but you also get NES, Super NES, and a Game Boy emulator. Also, you get a smartphone app.
I think that's what this was.
All for $3.99. Unless you want to spend $60 a month for all this junk. Nice to have options, but why so expensive? All of a sudden, it goes from super cheap for some online play and these emulators, then I have to give my firstborn child to get some DLC for games I don't own. There's no middle ground for these either. If you want to play the N64 emulator, you're gonna need to fork over $60 just to basically play that. Screw this, man, I'm out. At least I can take a look at the latest Nintendo news, which is cool, but I'm looking for the Nintendo eShop. I love the Wii Shop, getting to look at all the old games and weird virtual titles they had on there too, but this store is just so much bigger. Back on the Wii days, you wouldn't be caught dead looking at FC25. It's insane to see all of these third-party games here. I bet looking through this as a kid couldn't be nothing more than a treat. I'm also glad that they got rid of Wii points. They were complicated and unnecessary, and this just feels easier to use and seems pretty fun to explore. It reminds me of shopping on my 3DS when I was smaller, not able to really buy anything, but still interested in all that was there. But with all of that looked at, let's jump into the Nintendo Switch's library. I'm going to talk about third-party titles later on, but I want to keep it mainly focused on Nintendo mainline launches that I own. These are my reviews of the games, mostly just my review of the Switch's ability to play them. So, let's start with the launch title, Breath of the Wild. What a title to launch with. I don't think I could think of a better launch title. I stand corrected. Breath of the Wild is a blast to play through, although it suffers from some very noticeable system problems like frame rate crashes along with loading times. These are not a good look for the console's first game, and it already shows how worrying a third-party game could look like, since if Nintendo games can't run well, what's that gonna mean for third-party titles? Other than that, Breath of the Wild on the dock mode feels great. I can't stress enough how comfortable the Pro Controller is. It fits like a glove and makes playing games like this a dream. While in handheld mode, the game runs about the same, but this game kind of sucks in handheld mode. It's still fun, but more uncomfortable. I feel like after 30 minutes, my hands start to go numb holding the controller and trying to hit all the buttons in this game. What works great in handheld mode is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Hey, want to play some Mario Kart? Yeah, sure.
Aside from a dumb title and problems I'll talk about later, this game works great in handheld mode. Playing a cup or 3 was no problem, and the Switch only using 3 buttons for this game was a huge reason for that. Breath of the Wild has you reaching all over the place for actions. Mario Kart, on the other hand, all you need is the A button, left joystick, and right bumper, and you're gaming. If you're alone, yeah. I don't know what masochist would try to play split screen on handheld mode. Neither you or your friend is gonna have any fun. How are these two doing it in a car? There's no way. It's cool to have options, but it's not gonna be the best way to play. Dock mode is classic Mario Kart fun. Get the game together and race through some tracks with a nice, smooth performance. If you're alone with no friends, then Mario Odyssey might be a better suited game for you. This game looks gorgeous on this console. The effects are amazing, and playing this both in handheld mode and docked mode work great. The Pro Controller having motion controls is interesting and actually pretty fun to use, although while trying to use motion controls in handheld mode is a bit of a pain. Like, I either have to shake the Switch, which is just an awful idea, and taking off the Joy-Cons is just a hassle in certain situations, making it portable kind of fail. All moves can be done without motion controls, but it's easier with them, making handheld mode just harder to enjoy the game overall. Other than that, the game runs great both docked and in handheld mode, and while on the TV, I could play this game for hours. While in handheld mode, it's good to go and grab a couple of moons in between transits. Mario plus Rabbids. This is a weird game, but it's super fun. This is my first time really getting into this game, and it's a pretty fun strategy RPG with a mix of Mario and Rabbids. I started playing it on the dock, but I played a majority of the game so far on the handheld. Some games on the Switch are just better in either mode, while some games can be great in both modes, and this really shines in handheld mode. It's simple yet quick, meaning when you're on the go, playing a level is a delight to get through. Now, there are some performance issues like frame drops happening while using the power-up moves, but other than that, the game runs overall smooth. But shut the hell up, we have Smash Bros. This game is just as popular of a party game as Mario Kart, and having it here on the Switch is amazing. Like I was saying earlier, however, this game is one of those that is harder to play on the handheld mode rather than on TV. I think what makes a good handheld game for the Switch is the pacing. The faster you have to click buttons, the harder it is to play in handheld mode. While on the dock, it doesn't really matter because most of the accessories are super light for this system, like the Joy-Cons are the lightest controller you'll ever use, while the Switch is about on par with a tablet in terms of weight. That being said, Smash Bros runs great on the Switch, in both handheld mode and docked mode. Just making for another solid entry for the Switch's library. Next up, we have Mario Maker 2. This is the polar opposite to Smash Bros. Why would you ever play this on your dock? If you were playing Mario levels, that makes sense, but creating levels without the touchscreen is a massive pain. The controls are confusing, hard to navigate, and just a chore to work around. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Mario Maker 2 anyway. I already don't have fun making levels, it's just not my thing, and playing levels in this game are mostly just like playing Mario games I've already played. It's just not my thing, but I can see where the appeal comes from. However, Luigi's Mansion 3 is right up my alley. I was a huge fan of Dark Moon, and Luigi Mansion 3 is a great sequel. I have some issues with it, like the fact that each floor feel like a level rather than a place to explore, where with Dark Moon you went through unlocking the manor. That's mainly just a nitpick and nothing more. Although I'm not a fan of these controls. While in dock mode, it's manageable, but in handheld mode, this game is just too much of a chore to play. So in the game, you have to press the main 4 buttons for some of your tools, and use the right analog stick to aim. And while on the dock, this is really manageable, but on handheld, that extra weight of the Switch makes it really tricky to play around. Other than that, I think this game is one of the best running games I have played yet on the Switch. I don't think I've ran into a single performance issue on either mode, so nice going, Luigi. Doing better than your brother already. Oh my god, I love Animal Crossing, and getting it on the Switch was perfect. I love New Leaf on the 3DS and City Folk on the Wii, and having New Horizons available on both handheld and at home with all new gameplay mechanics makes this one of the best Animal Crossing games ever. If you overlook the poor updates and missing mechanics from day one, haha, losers, hide in a rock for 7 years and you won't have that problem. Playing this game on handheld mode is super comfortable, while having it running on the dock allows for a more cozy way to play the game. Honestly, there's no right way to play this title. The performance is great on both modes, as well as making Animal Crossing just a delight to hop in and out of at your leisure, making for some solid Switch entries in these last few titles. Speaking of having a little slice to life, I have recently launched my brand new channel, IRL326, where you can see all my IRL adventures. Right now we have 2 videos on the channel, but I have so many more planned in the future. So if you like food challenges, more vlogs, and reviews, then head to the description for the link to the channel, or stick to the end of the video for another link there. Alright, back to talking about the Switch. Good thing Nintendo made sure to mess that up. Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Why did they ruin the potential here? I remember hearing rumors of this and saying, what the hell's a Switch? And also, having remakes of Mario 64 sounds hype. Needing to see what Mario Sunshine really is sounds interesting. And how is a port of Mario Galaxy going to work, since it's a Wii game? I'm not sure how I got this in my head, but I thought they were all gonna get like Mario Odyssey level quality remake. Instead, Mario 64 doesn't even fit the screen. This just deflates me, bro. I was super disappointed with this release. At least I get to see what Mario Sunshine is all about. Yeah, so Mario 64 is just Mario 64. Sunshine nearly broke my mental sanity, and Mario Galaxy might be the best port I've ever played. Playing this on the dock is amazing. The Joy-Cons take away all the annoyance that came with the Wii Remote's stupid sensor bar problem. Only if that would carry over to the handheld mode. It's honestly nearly impossible to play this on handheld mode. You have to use the screen for the cursor, taking your hands off the controls in order to grab any of the star bits, and you now have to either shake the whole system in order to spin, or press a button, which loses the fun of Mario Galaxy. So one game is just a port of itself, one game is a port to kill you, and one game on here is both the best port I have ever played and the worst port I've ever played. What a huge mixed bag. At least all the games run well. Well, not you, Sunshine. I need a palate cleanser. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Well, it's an okay remake of Gen 4. I mean, it runs fine on the dock, and the series was literally built on handheld, so it's fine. They're basically just Pokemon games. There's not much for me to say about this. I do have a lot to say about Super Mario 3D World, and the huge problem with the Switch's library. A lot of the games that come from the Switch are just Wii U ports, to make up for that system's lackluster sale performance. It makes the Switch feel like the Wii U 2, and not gonna lie, Wii U games weren't much better than the console. Case in point, Mario 3D World. Nothing wrong with this game other than the fact that it's just Mario 3D Land, but again, and it's okay. That's the problem. It's not a new experience or a super fun one. It's just Mario 3D World. Mario 3D World has a new mode that changes up the formula while keeping the core 3D World feel, which really saves this game in my opinion. But all the other titles literally feel like, oh no, the Wii U sucked, now do it on the Switch. Which can make the Switch feel really dated at times. I mean, we haven't seen a new Mario Kart in 11 years. Enough with that side rant. This is a perfect handheld experience. It's simple, easy to pick up, but also really fun on the dock. This game is one of those games that strikes that nice balance that really takes advantage of both the Switch's capabilities of playing in handheld and at home. Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out. I actually bought this planning on playing it with a friend, just to find out that it's only local co-op. That seems like an oversight on the devs team's part, not gonna lie. It is actually another one of those games that perfectly strikes that balance of handheld and at-home gaming experiences. It's just another fun 3D platformer to have a part of your Switch's library. Another really solid title. Mario Strikers is up next, and this is a huge disappointment in my opinion. This game feels so empty. Like, it's fun to pick up and play with a friend every once in a while, but it loses its shine after an hour. Also, you're just in the sky while you play. Like, I think this is supposed to be cool and epic, but it just feels lazy, like they didn't want to make a full course. Also, the performance here sucks sometimes. You can have heavy input delay, the animations for the cutscenes are just super choppy, just an underwhelming Mario sports title in my opinion. But if you enjoy underwhelming sports title, well, this game is the most comfortable to play on the dock. After one game in handheld mode, my thumb was already hating this game. I think Mario Strikers is just a little too much for the handheld experience. Coming off that lackluster game comes one of the best Nintendo platformers I have played since New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is such a fun, charming 2D Mario game with some actual substance. Gathering collectibles in this game actually makes you feel like you're doing something, aside from it just being a collectible. And then, the gameplay is so tight and precise with no slippery controls or feeling like I'm getting cheated. This game runs flawlessly, unless you're loading into a level, which then it has a quick frame drop, but I'm overlooking that because this game is just too good. This being a 2D Mario game also makes playing it on the handheld mode super easy. I'm gonna be honest, I'm addicted to this game and I'm still playing it even though I'm done with this video. But now, it's time for Super Mario RPG. I already love the original, and this remake is top tier. I've already talked about my opinion on this game before, so I'm just gonna hop into talking about how it feels to play on the Switch. Overall, it runs nice, but loading battles or taking a look at the encounter book slows the game down and might even freeze the game. So that's kind of sad. Although this is another game where it strikes that perfect balance of handheld and dock mode playability. I think that's gonna be a case with a lot of turn-based RPGs. You can take actions at your own leisure, making it easier to play anywhere, so that's not a big surprise. Alright, last game to talk about, and it's another re-release. Are you catching Nintendo's big plan now? Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. This game was a yap fest. So much talking at the start of the game, it took forever to get into the actual gameplay loop. This game runs great, looks even better. Like, comparing it to the original, this game has a major glow up and still runs great. Not to sound like a broken record, but it's another turn-based RPG, so of course it's gonna be just fine running in handheld mode and on the dock. You're gonna be comfortable and it's gonna be super easy to play. But that takes me to the end of all the Switch games that I have access to. Not gonna lie, you have some great games, some okay Wii U games, and some disappointing performances by most of the games. Overall, my opinion on the Switch boils down to, are you a Nintendo fan? Back in 2017, this was the only way to play third-party games on the go. I played some third-party titles just to see how it felt on the system, and it wasn't horrible. I knew that the performance would be better on like a PS5 or PC, but the fact that I could take this game and go basically anywhere and have access to it overall is really nice. But now we are in 2025, where there are like 30 million different Switch knockoffs, meaning if you aren't a Nintendo fan, you're not obligated to play a Switch to have a mobile experience with some of your favorite titles, like with the Steam Deck. But getting a Switch as a Nintendo fan is no argument. Having this system is truly like having both a handheld and at-home console. I can't tell you how many times I was in the middle of the game and just picked it off the dock and went to another room. It is so seamless. My dead great-grandmother could Nintendo Switch. It's that easy. My only problem is the Switch's library being so riddled with Wii U filler, especially when you can see how the team performs on games like Super Mario Wonder and Mario Odyssey. So seeing so many games get re-released, it's just kind of disappointing. However, it does make sense, since having your library as big as possible is what makes these handhelds so much of an incentive. Get uncomfortable playing Mario Strikers? Hop over to Mario Plus Rabbids, get bored there, play some Breath of the Wild. So, while I'm not a fan of all the Wii U ports, it is nice to have an option to play them here.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go back to living in my rock and play all the new Switch games that I haven't gotten to experience over the last 7 years. I sure hope I don't miss any other major Nintendo console release. Alright, I'll see you guys